I am Iron Man.
Hello there.
Avengers! All right, welcome to Stars in Marvel. I don't even know what episode. Oh, crap! Wait, did my
Good start. Good
did
start.
my hold on one second? I think my camera disconnected. Hold on. Crap. Hold on, technical difficulties.
I need like a fidget toy thing. I don't have any. If they have a keychain here, I'll play with. Big fidgeter while we podcast. While I
Hold on.
podcast.
All right, I think I got it plugged in now.
I probably
Today we're
could.
breaking down Deadpool and Wolverine. Wow, this looks terrible. This looks like Deadpool off a Wish. I thought this was gonna look better.
I am so happy.
This looks terrible. But today we're breaking down Deadpool and Wolverine, which came out last week. It's currently July 31st, so we're all right. I'm gonna the bit's over. I'm taking this.
I feel I could have taught like you said you were switching camera, and I was not warned of the bit, and I was like, I'll probably just cut this out. I don't really need to say anything right now.
What were you saying?
Nope. We gotta commit to it now. Gotta commit to the bit.
I was like, oh, I think I have a Deadpool mask. I was like, that'd be fun to put on in the beginning of the podcast. And
that was perfectly funny. It looked like you would have been sweating in 30 seconds.
Oh yes, I am sweating right now. Hold on, I'm just gonna fix my headphones real quick.
I'm just tired. The Deadpool and Wolverine time, folks. Woo! Woo!
All right, but so today we're breaking down Deadpool and Wolverine, the long-awaited Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean,
I think it ended up being 6 years since
Yeah.
Deadpool 2.
since that, yeah. I mean, when it was what, like 3 years ago when we had that like teaser of Ryan Reynolds sitting on the couch, like, hey, Hugh, you want to play Wolverine again? It's like, sure.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. It was like 2 or 3 years ago. That was I just saw that the other day, and it was so funny. I watched it after watching the movie, and I was like, so worth it. So worth it. Like it
It was worth the wait. I mean, yeah, before we get into anything, full spoilers for the movie.
Yeah,
so if you haven't seen anything yet, yeah.
Let's I would say, I mean, I think pretty much everyone that listens stays with us for the spoilers, but I'll say a quick nonce.
Yeah, we
like,
can
just
do a non-spoiler
like,
one. Yeah. But we will be jumping into spoilers.
Because yeah, I mean, and that's this movie, you pretty much have to talk spoilers. Like,
yeah,
even so, I will say, I don't know if you did this, but since watching the movie, I went back and watched every trailer and an ad and everything.
I haven't done that. I haven't done that yet.
Oh, it was so satisfying.
Yeah.
But so the first trailer, the announcement trailer, where you get the glimpse of Wolverine at the end, like I think that was technically the teaser.
It was like the shadow of him.
That was.
Yeah,
that was just a perfect teaser. The first trailer is you get to see Wolverine completely, Hugh Jackman back, and that's it. You see Wolverine and Deadpool the whole trailer, TVA as well, and it's like, okay, so that's all you see in that. The next trailer, which I am so glad I never watched. However, I did have this spoiled for me.
Okay.
Oh, well, I guess I won't talk. The next trailer has a major spoiler in it, but it really doesn't.
See,
it doesn't affect the story. But it's one of the cameos is straight up in the trailer.
And that's why I am staying away. I mean, I know I'd say that as I just sent you the leaked Fantastic Four footage from Comic-Con, but but that was
concept footage.
Exactly. That's not a full blown out trailer. But my new rule, I think, going into MCU movies is watch the teaser trailer and then nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, with this era of the multiverse saga being so heavily based into not just like cameos of actors, but also character cameos.
Yeah,
like a big instance being Beast being in the Marvels, right?
Yeah.
Like that one you don't actually find out Beast is in it, but you get the at the end of the last trailer, they were like, "Oh, the multiverse is tearing." It's like didn't even know this
And
movie was going to be affected by the multiverse, and
right,
all of a
yeah.
sudden it's in the trailer that the multiverse is tearing, right? So yeah, I agree. It's teasers are pretty perfect. No Way Home's teaser was perfect. That was the
Yeah,
infamous the freaking pumpkin grenade, and then you see Doc Ock rise up and say hello, Peter. I mean, that was a perfect teaser
that was a
too.
good teaser. Yeah,
Like
because it didn't show it just showed Otto and then a Green Goblin. It didn't show Willem Dafoe. So
that's
which
what
I
you
mean,
didn't even see. It was just his pumpkin bomb. Like
yeah,
it was. Oh,
everybody knew it was gonna be Willem
oh,
Dafoe,
ever gonna yeah, right. But
but
like that's
it
what.
was still
So
a good
great
teaser.
teaser again. Deadpool and Wolverine, great teaser.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I won't go into spoilers, but like rewatched all that stuff. Definitely agree. Like, don't like going forward. Might have to do just like I said, a teaser, and then whatever I see in theaters, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
I'm rambling. I love this movie.
Yes.
I think it was exactly what I wanted it to be.
Yes.
As a Marvel, as a Deadpool fan, like 10 out of 10 perfect. However, it is absolutely one of those movies that in a trilogy they don't try to make this something for new people to jump in. And
Oh
as a
no.
fan,
Yeah.
I enjoy that, but like it's not for randos to come and see.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the
And
first two, you're going to be a little lost.
I mean, first two Deadpool for sure, but like is even like I
Oh,
would say anything Wolverine related, you have to know.
that's true. Yeah, because the death of
Especially
Wolverine
I
and
think
everything.
most
Yeah.
people have seen Logan, but
Yeah.
like especially Logan, because they oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. I had a friend at work ask me, he was like, "Hey, like this was before we saw the movie," and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it because." Hugh Jackman did such a great job in Logan, and it was such a great farewell to the character. And I was like, oh, well, they talked about like in an interview, they're probably going to pay homage to that or something. And without spoiling, boy, do they pay
Do they pay
homage to it.
homage? Yes.
Boy, do they address it and it's
Does
perfect.
that pay off?
It's perfect. And so I guess the only thing I'm trying to, like my last thoughts on non spoilers is that I loved it. I couldn't have asked for anything better. I think it does what Multiverse of Madness wanted to do better. Is
Yeah.
is the best way to put it.
Perfect. That's a perfect description. Yep.
And then it's like
This
it
is what
truly is just a plot for the fans, and it's I think that's all I can say. I think that's
yeah,
all I can say here.
this is what I thought Multiverse of Madness was going to be with like,
Mm-hmm.
multiple characters from the different universes and stuff like that. Um I think, I mean, again, I'm staying with you 10 out of 10. I think this was a perfect follow up for Deadpool in leading into the MC, or
Yeah.
bringing him into the MCU. They stayed true to all, they kept the R rating, the graphic violence was still in it,
Oh my god.
the obscene dialogue was in it, which like I they stayed true to the character. They let Ryan Reynolds do his thing, you know what I mean? They let
Yeah.
him and the writers, I forget if they had the same writers from the original movies, but
Oh, I don't
um
remember. That's good.
they let the writers stay true to Deadpool. They kept the fourth wall breaking. They let Deadpool like rip on the studios, which I thought was amazing. Like, they
A
let him
lot.
do a lot of commentary on the studios, which was cool to see that that Foggy was like, whatever,
Yeah.
like we just let him do it. But yeah, I think this was a perfect. It wasn't anything too heavily impacted in the MCU, which I liked. Like there wasn't any. I
Maybe.
mean, maybe.
Maybe.
As far as we know, right now in the movie, there wasn't any huge implications into the MCU, as that we know of yet. Um, which I enjoyed. I mean, spoiler. I mean, not spoiler alert, but the post credit scene was very Deadpool esque. It
Oh,
didn't have anything. Didn't have any like. It was just a funny. It was a comic relief. Not comic relief, but just a comical
yeah.
end credit scene. It wasn't anything that Thanos picking up the gauntlet. Fine, I'll do it myself type thing. It was just a funny bit that they threw in at the end, which I was glad. I was glad they didn't like show Doom or show Kang or something like I guess not Kang, but it didn't have any. It stayed true to Deadpool, which is why I 10 out of 10 enjoyed this movie, and I'm gonna see it probably about 15 more times.
That's what it's funny. I still tied for movie I've seen the most in theaters for a single movie I've seen the most in theaters is Deadpool 1. I saw 5 times in theaters. And I don't think this will break that, but I am curious. I literally Val just told me today, she's like, "Hey, I gotta travel overnight once next week." I was like, "Oh, okay."
So
And
I'm
I'm
gonna go see
literally
Deadpool.
like, "I'm gonna go see Deadpool that night. I'm gonna go see Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, what else am I
What else?
gonna do?"
Yeah,
So I mean, I'm at least gonna see it one more time. If I had to guess, I'll probably see it 3 times total in theaters. And as my friend Will always said, like that was a gauge to him how good a
yeah.
Marvel movie was how many times was I willing to see it in theaters. And I got to tell you, this has no limit. It's just whenever it happens, it'll happen for
It
sure.
has such good rewatchability factor
Oh my
to it.
god.
I mean,
Oh
when this
my
comes out on
god.
Disney Plus, or when this comes out just on streaming, I think I'm gonna buy it just so I can
Oh
watch it
yeah, dude.
the second it comes out.
I
Because
hope
it's just such a good movie.
I hope they come out with a collector's edition that's as absurd as possible too.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
I was so disappointed. I think I showed you on Snapchat. My theater had a Wolverine popcorn bucket,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's cool, it's funny, but it's like just kind of like a statue bust of Wolverine's head mask.
Mhm.
Whereas we didn't get the super. I don't know if you saw the humorous ones where it's literally like his open mouth is the
I think
bucket, and that is hysterical.
wasn't it supposed to be like a play on like the sandworm one from Dune,
Yeah.
right? And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it just
yeah.
it's
I think I
and it
saw
was
those.
real. That was the funny thing. It was I was so disappointed that wasn't at my theater. I was like, well, I'm gonna get this
I'm
one,
gonna get one at
obviously.
least. Yeah. So yeah, did you go to a Regal or like a UA
We
or
have a
something?
Cinemark we go
Oh,
to.
okay. Well, we've been doing Movie Tavern a lot, and I don't think they get those like branded things. So they just have their
Sure.
own.
Well, Movie Tavern's very like self-bred kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're more like a not independent, but they're more like I guess they don't get all that promotional stuff, but
Yeah.
which
Well,
is kind of a bummer.
that's probably the closest one to you now that the Regal's closed, right?
Oh, the Regal's back open.
What?
It's not Regal anymore.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay,
just
okay.
Oaks Entertainment Center. They still play movies. But it's Oaks Entertainment. I don't know. I kind of like going to Movie Tavern because the seats are you can lay
They're
back in the seats
super
and stuff.
comfortable.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's actually
Um,
our Cinemark is not quite that relaxed, but it's
but
a
you
pretty nice seats at the
yeah.
theater. It's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, the seats at the Regal are just or the
Oh
one in
my god.
Oaks are have seen better days. So
Those are school bus seats
yeah,
basically at this
exactly.
point.
Yeah. You're like it's like sitting in like like veteran stadium seats. They're like the ones that fold down and everything. Yeah.
um all right. I think spoilers because
Yeah.
this, like I said, that's the funny thing is they did such a good job of not spoiling what the plot of this movie was
Yeah.
that like literally talking about it at all is going to be a spoiler. So I think that's
I
it.
I
Like,
loved
yeah,
going into this movie having no idea what was like what was gonna happen. Like I knew like from the teaser trailer, I was obviously knew that, well, the TVA was gonna be involved somehow. Obviously Wolverine and I think in the teaser they showed them in the void-esque area. Like they showed them in the void, which I just kind of put it together as, oh, I'm pretty sure that's the void. But I loved going into the movie without knowing anything. I think the reveal of, I mean, jumping a little ahead here, but the reveal of Cassandra Cage, or not Cassandra Cage, Cassandra Nova, um, as like the big bad
oh,
was.
dude. So yeah, full spoilers. So that dude, her being
I didn't know about the character. I'd
oh,
never heard of her before.
I that is one of those like random storylines that you
Really
hear
niche,
over
like
time.
yeah,
Yeah. And you're like, someone's like talking about Xavier's like, oh, he ate someone in the womb. Oh, I've heard that weird. Like that's definitely one of those super bizarre storylines. Some crackpot at Marvel was like, wouldn't it be funny if he got his superpowers because he ate his twin in the womb? It's like that's so weird. And
yeah,
then fast forward to she is the
type
entire villain of this movie.
right, yeah. It's
I
it was a really cool interpretation of seeing her read someone's mind, of her like putting her hand
oh
through their faces. Like it
that
was
made
just
my
so
skin
creepy. Yeah.
crawl every time. Again, like that's another thing. I was pretty impressed with the visuals on this movie.
Hmm.
I think the only time I thought it was a a bit like cartoonish, I'll say, is the final Deadpool and Wolverine fight through the Deadpool core. It gets a
Yeah.
little too like
A little
on the
rubbery.
nose cartoon. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's like a
But
great
yeah.
cartoonish fight, and that's the thing. But it just yeah, like that's not actually anyone fighting in the way
Yeah.
they're doing it. But it was just that was the only thing. Like, I think everything else throughout the movie looks
Yeah, it
great.
looks
And
perfect.
like
Yeah.
the whole point of me getting this is that when Cassandra does her finger mind reading goop thing,
Uh-huh.
like it's oh, like
It's
it
just
was
it's unsettling. Yeah.
so good, so good.
So I guess we want to talk. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead there to antagonist spoiler, but um, do you want to talk about the very beginning? The opening of the
Yes.
movie.
Yeah, that's a dude. Like I'm just gonna say this too. Like, I could talk about this movie for the next 5 hours. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know how long we're gonna be talking, but like, I will talk about literally anything. I was sitting in my cube today at work. Don't worry about what I do; it's not your business. But I was sitting at my cube, and I was literally doing the like.
And it ain't no I mean I grew up listening to that song. Yeah, I remember getting the
Oh,
no strings attached cassette and everything. But when that played over
that's great, dude.
over the when that played over the intro, I was like, I forgot how just catchy this song, and it like fits Deadpool perfectly. And
Oh
it's
my god,
like,
yeah.
his farewell to the Fox universe type thing. You know what I mean? Like, I
And
just thought,
that
yeah.
sorry, I'm like
No, no,
jumping
no.
around here, but like to even like the start of that scene, right? Is that in an interview or whatever, Ryan Reynolds is like, oh, we're going to pay homage or address like respecting Logan as a story. And the first line of the movie is like, I know you're all wondering how we're gonna respect Logan, and we won't. And
And
it
yeah,
just shows him digging up the
digging it up his
grave.
yeah.
I mean, I was dying. I was like, they just set the motherfucking tone of this movie perfectly. Perfectly.
So I went in a little not blind, but I've only seen Logan once, and that was like probably when it came out, like when it came
Sure.
out on DVD or whatever.
So like 16, 17-ish.
Yeah, yep. So I mean I remember Logan dying, but I was like, well, how did he like how does
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine die? But it was because his healing factor was going away, right? Basically, and
Yeah,
he just
essentially the adamantium was leaking into his body. The healing factor was on overdrive, and yada yada yada. He just the healing factor wasn't keeping up anymore.
okay. And that's when he got impaled by the tree trunk at the end, and he just
Right.
bled out and
And that
died.
like just it stopped his heart, which stopped the healing factor. So as he like started to decay, it just was it didn't do anything. And that's
Okay.
I think that's the idea is that the his body decays away before the healing factor can kick in.
Yeah.
And you're left with an adamantium
And skeleton,
skeleton.
which that was so. I'm glad they stayed true to like the Deadpool opening, where it's like, it's happening in the future in the movie,
Yeah.
and it's a fight scene, and then it's like, well, let's see how I got here, and it rewinds back to the beginning. Just him using. I mean, I know I'm jumping ahead here, but him using
No.
Wolverine's skeleton as a weapon was
It,
amazing. I mean,
it
it brought back to the first movie where he's like, I got 12 bullets, count them out, folks. Like, because he was like, what he's like, there's 204 bones in the human body, 205 if I'm watching Gossip Girl.
which I didn't know this, but did you know that's a shout out to Blake Lively?
Yeah, yep, yeah,
She's in
she's
yes,
in, yep.
that's I was like, dude, so, great, great. That's the kind of writing in this movie that like again, it's just the jokes are just on point throughout the whole thing, and I don't think there's very many like. And I was rewatching Deadpool 1 and 2 before this, and it's like these movies are written funny in a way that I think for the most part will stand the test of time. Like
Yeah,
not too many of them
there's not
are
many
like
dated jokes.
correct,
Yeah,
correct. Like so like that Gossip Girl might get a little dated, but like it's kind of like everyone knows what
every
Gossip Girl was kind
yeah,
of a
or
thing, you
and,
know?
and quick
Right.
IMDb, search up. Oh, his wife was in the show. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, there was one line that cut pretty deep. It was when he was talking to, I forget who he was talking to, but he goes, oh yeah, he's talking about, like, Deadpool was talking about Wolverine. He goes, he hasn't really kept up since the divorce. And that was like, ooh, because Hugh Jackman just got divorced from his wife. They've been married for like 30 years or something like that. Like,
Yeah, when
it's
did
like,
that
oh
go
my God.
through? I don't even know when he got
Yeah, I don't
divorced.
know.
That's what I knew. He's been married like forever.
It had to have
And
been during shooting. I mean,
that's what I,
or that was like an add in afterwards. But I was like, God, I'm surprised he left. He let. I mean, I know him and Ryan Reynolds are
what a
cool, but
hit,
like,
man.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for
a
real.
jab. Like,
That was. And that's I remember that too. I remember back like, is he divorced? I was like, I can't for
ooh,
sure.
yeah.
It's great, dude. Dude, the Wolverine skeleton fight scene with
Oh,
the TVA, and
oh,
he's literally
so cool.
using every piece of the bone. He does the move where he sticks the like forearm into the one dude's crotch, and then
Yeah,
he's like jerking the
yeah,
skeleton. Oh my god, it's so fun. And then he puts the claws on his
yeah.
arms, and I am soaking
So
wet
good.
right now.
I love it. He gets the one claw stuck in the guy's ass and the one claw stuck in the guy's crotch, and he's like basically just like
He's going through the motions.
yeah.
I like that's like
Well,
it's
and like I was watching a breakdown of it, and they're like the amount of time that probably took for him, like realistically to it looked like it was his like Wolverine's tendons that he just
yeah.
attached to his arm, and it's like the amount of time that would have took to strap that all together is a lot of dedication.
And oh my
Oh,
god,
such a
it was
such a
just
good
such a good
payoff.
fight too. Like if we're just
Oh
bare
yeah,
bones in it.
I
But
loved it. I loved when it was in the trailer. Like I saw like a teaser trailer after the movie. Um, but when he takes the katana and bounces it off the ground, like the TVA guy's talking
oh,
to him something, and he goes, and it's just right in his head. I was like, ah, that's and I'm glad they gave him adamantium
swords,
katanas. Cause yeah,
katanas, yeah,
because that just like it made the fights better because you knew like if he was fighting with regular katanas, Wolverine would just crush those things immediately.
yeah.
So it gave a better
Wolverine can't just
continuity to the
slice
fight.
the katana in half because they're
Exactly.
made of
Yeah.
adamantium. Um, yeah, no, I mean that was a great line, and that's one of those stupid things that like if a movie does that, like it's not necessary. Like at the end of the day, I don't need to know their adamantium katanas, but it was
Yeah.
literally a sentence, and like by
Yeah.
putting that in, you just cover the fact that throughout this whole movie they're gonna fight, and he doesn't slice the swords in half every time. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Like yeah, it's and that's the kind of care that went into this movie that I just think really matters. Like as silly as that
And
sounds,
it was just yeah, like you said, like it was just a tiny line. They didn't make a
yeah,
big deal out of it. It was the TVA guy, Paradox or whatever, was like, it's like I hope you enjoy your new adamantium blades or whatever. It was just it wasn't too much
dude.
exposition into it.
And even that, I wanted to say, there's no confirmation, but I was hearing or watching or reading or something along the lines of like, so there were a bunch of reshoots for this movie, which I also did not think this felt like there were a lot of reshoots.
No,
Like I
it didn't
think it
feel like
feels
it. Yeah.
pretty coherent. And usually, you can be like, that's probably where it was, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like apparently, this movie started filming when season 2 of Loki was coming out, and they didn't
Yeah.
know that the TVA was dismantled then. So,
Hmm.
like, even the line of like Deadpool being like, "You guys are a rogue squad" or something like that
That was a
immediately is like,
reshoot.
oh,
Yeah.
that's why they're pruning people because they're doing whatever the fuck they want and they're not
Yeah.
listening to the TVA. Like,
Yeah,
it,
there's apparently there's a scene of like Mr. Parrot, whatever his name is. I forget if Mr. Paradox or
paradox.
Paradox,
I
but
think
he's
you're right.
he's talking like in the beginning with Deadpool explaining everything, and he's like saying like apparently we have new rules in the TVA, and you can I mean I couldn't tell by looking at it. I'm sure the people who broke it down probably watched it about 15 times before they broke it down, but you could tell apparently it was like a reshoot. It was a green screen of the background. But
Okay,
who cares? You know what I mean?
dude,
Like at
that's
least they
that.
kept the
But
continuity with what's going on in Loki and
that's what I'm trying to say. Like it's impressive what they were able to pull off with a show that kind of goes in a different direction.
yeah,
Like it's just I don't know. I think they did it simply enough. Like, oh, this TVA group is doing their own thing. They're trying to prove themselves. They're trying to prove that the original way is best. And you have what's her name coming in at the end, and it's like it just all works in a way really well that the story just keeps moving.
yeah. Um, I loved leading after the opening
Mhm.
fight and everything. Him talking with Happy Hogan. I thought that was a perfect little bit for the movie. Him just him trying to join the Avengers and everything.
Yeah, dude.
There's a lot of cool like background like not cameo but background like place
East,
things like
there
the
were
cat.
so many Easter eggs in that
Oh yeah,
office.
yeah.
Yeah.
And his like little back and forth with Happy was perfect. Like, yeah, you were his driver. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
his chauffeur. Like, I
Well,
just thought that was
that's what he
perfect.
was in the
Yeah,
first Iron Man movie, right? Like that's Deadpool, like referencing the movies in a way that
yeah,
not Favreau doesn't know, right? Or not have happy Jesus, but like it's just It's I don't know, man. That scene was hilarious. Yeah, I know you guys were gonna be upset about me smashing off in the lobby.
Yeah.
What's smashing off? Oh, it's when you take two whole cans and you just go to town. Like I was so I oh my god, dude. And I was cracking up the whole movie. Like
Yeah.
I could talk about every single joke. I was cracking up the whole fucking movie.
And like even the sappy moment, like they did have a couple of not sappy moments, but a couple of like emotional moments was immediately followed up by like a dick joke or like you
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like it just made it, that's why I like the Deadpool movies because there are serious parts, but then they just go, oh nope, here's someone getting their head chopped off, or oh here's someone getting their this chopped
But
off.
I also think this movie does a great job of showing how Deadpool can't handle serious moments. And like
Yeah,
that's his
that's his
coping mechanism.
coping. Yep,
Like a
exactly. Yeah,
great example is if we fast forward to when they're in the car and Wolverine just fucking vents and just it's aimed directly at Deadpool and he's silent. And
yeah.
then he goes, I'm gonna fight you now. And they just beat the shit out of each other. And it's like that's
That
Deadpool, man.
that fight scene. I mean, all of Wolverine and Deadpool's fight scenes together were amazing. But that fight scene in the minivan was awesome. That they were just such closed quarters and just beating the
Oh
shit
my
out of
god.
each other.
Baby knife.
Maybe not. um.
Maybe one of the best like recurring bits.
Oh yeah,
Baby
it
knife.
was like the whole movie. Yeah, I kept on hearing maybe not. Um. I also loved how they had Wolverine run like an actual Wolverine. Like they
Yes.
had him like gallop basically on all fours.
This was comic Wolverine,
Yeah,
like except for his height, which they address.
which they
All right, hold on, let's do this, and then I'm
yeah
gonna Wolverine camera. But
yeah
like, yeah, except for his height, which they address, like this was the most comic accurate Wolverine we've ever gotten
yeah.
from the appearance, his yellow costume, the mask, which
The
I
cow,
thought
yeah.
looked
Oh,
amazing.
that looked
It was
great.
so funny. Valerie sitting next to me, she's like, "I get why they've never put that on him," and I'm like, "You're wrong. Like you're just wrong."
You're wrong.
But yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing, dude. Like, if we want to talk like performance too, Hugh Jackman gives his all in this
Oh
in a
yeah,
way that is like comparable to Logan.
yeah, yeah. I
Like
mean,
you,
I
like
mean,
he's a
it's
broken man in this
and you
movie.
make it makes it feel like a different Wolverine. You know what I mean? He does a good
Yeah.
job making it seem like a variant of the 10005 Wolverine, or whatever Earth they're on.
No, yeah, you got it.
But yeah, so what we were talking about, like getting into was the cameo of Wolverines when he's going through the different timelines.
They're
Oh,
so
so
good.
good.
You've got comic height Wolverine, which he
That
calls Short King.
he
I
just
mean, I was laughing. He doesn't even bother wasting his time with him. He's like, you do it, Short King, and he leaves. Fucking
I mean, he had like the deep V neck and everything too. Like that was whatchamacallit, the cartoon accurate. You know what I mean? Like the
yes.
X-Men cartoon. I mean, I guess the comics too, but
You know what's funny is I real quick I want to just point out how stupid the internet is sometimes because I saw someone like point that out and then there was just a flood of comments like body shaming bullshit blah 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 blah. I'm like as a short person
yeah,
that was
that was
hilarious.
hilarious. Yeah.
As a designated short man that was hysterical.
Well, that I like because that was a big thing when they cast Hugh Jackman. They're like, well, Wolverine's supposed to be like 5'3". Hugh Jackman's like 6'2". Like he's a full foot taller than what Wolverine's actually supposed to be. I mean, there could be nobody. Well, I say that now. Nobody could ever replace Hugh Jackman except for one of the cameos. But
Oh my
but
god! Even that
that was
cameo was so good.
But before we get into that one, there was a couple other ones. We got the which like the apocalypse, not apocalypse, but like the one where he's missing and he's got like a stump arm.
Yeah,
He's got
you know
the
what's funny
long.
about that? I recognize the alley and his style. I
Yeah.
missed that his arm was stumped.
Oh,
Like
really?
I
Okay.
don't. I think I was so focused because if I remember, he's got like fluffy ass
Yeah,
mutton
he's
chops
got
in
like
that one,
yeah, oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
I was
yeah.
just laughing at how he looked
Yeah.
because I recognized that like comic, and that was the thing is all these cameos, all the Wolverine
Comic
montage
accurate
cameos
ones.
are
Yeah.
comics
Yeah.
except for the other
The
actor,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and that's what like I missed the stuff though. That's the thing that's fun, and that's again you've already said it earlier, but it was like I want to see this movie again just to see the things I missed.
Yeah.
Like now that and this is when I know I love the movie because it's like I want to go look at the background for the details that for was clearly put into love and care of this movie.
Oh yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
keep going. I just I'm yeah.
What other ones? There was the orange suit, the John Byrne suit,
That
which
was
I
first
mean,
appearance.
oh,
Brown
so
Wolverine.
cool.
They even did the claw
With the
reflection.
yeah,
The
and
claw
oh my,
came
because
out and I
that's a
saw the
cover,
Hulk
right?
in the reflection.
That's a cover that for
Yeah.
when Wolverine fights the Hulk. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was. I mean, and it was cool that they. It would have been funny if it was like the claymation, like the Ang Lee Hulk or like Edward Norton Hulk. But it was
That would
cool.
have been.
It was cool that it was the Mark Ruffalo Hulk.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I love that. I think it made the most sense being what
teasing
looked like an
that fight
Avengers-esque.
though.
What?
Teasing that fight though. We got to get it at some point.
Ooh, that was
Hulk
I
versus
know. I
Wolverine.
don't know, man. I don't I we'll see. We'll see. But I loved at least that scene. Like,
Yeah,
oh my god. I still can't believe they got the reflection even. Like,
that was a
it was so
nice
cool.
detail.
It was so cool.
It was the one where he was like crucified on the X, and there was like a
I know.
bunch
I
of
didn't even know
bloody
that was a
skeletons.
con. I didn't know that one.
The one breakdown I saw, it was like it was like an 80s or late 80s early 90s run of the X-Men, and he was like trapped, he was like kidnapped by something, and they just
Yeah.
crucified him on an X. But I love that with Deadpool, he said something like, "Oh God, this is okay." Like he
Yeah.
said,
He's just like,
yeah,
I'm out on this one. Like,
yeah.
this is too much for
So
me.
you can handle that. um I I forget if there's any other like comic.
Patch, who was in the
Oh,
trailer.
Patch, yes,
Patch was in
yep.
the trailer. And he like it's so funny, like he's just like a 1 second, like, oh, it's
Yeah,
Patch. Like, oh, that's it.
I didn't know about that like version of Wolverine. I didn't know he like went by James Bond esque like
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
um
I think, and then it's just.
and then it's
Do
yeah,
you want to say it? You can say
no,
it.
it's all you.
Cavalry, baby, Henry
Wolverine.
Cavill. So everything about this
Oh, that
shot.
was
First of all,
perfect.
it's just he looks great. To
Yeah,
put it frankly, and then like Deadpool's dialogue just being like, we will care we will take so much better care for you than those jerks down the road. I was pissing myself laughing so
that
hard.
I didn't realize people wanted him to be Wolverine. I mean, he is I mean, other minus the height, but they're never going to get a five-figure actor to
Never.
play Wolverine.
Look,
But
yeah.
it's he's such a perfect not replacement, but such a perfect um uh I don't know the right word, but next person to play
He's a good fit.
Wolverine. He's a good fit for the role. He got huge for that scene. I don't know, maybe that was maybe a little bit of added CGI or whatever, but
He's also just
he's just
beefy
jacked in
guy,
general.
man.
Yeah.
Beefy guy.
But yeah, he was perfect. He kind of looked like the X-Men Origins Wolverine with the white beater and
With the
everything, and
beater. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fixing the motorcycle. But yeah, that was a great cameo. I was like hitting Kayla. I was like, "That's Henry Cavill." She's like, "Who the fuck is that?" I was like, "That's the guy that plays Superman or played
Not
Superman."
anymore.
Not
I
yeah.
loved it. It was so good, dude. It
And
was so good.
Ryan Reynolds got a couple of jabs at The Rock too during the movie. He kept on saying the hierarchy in the MCU has changed, because that was like The Rock's
That
big
was Black
tagline for
Adam.
when he came out with Black Adam was like, the
Yeah.
hierarchy in the DCEU has changed, and he kept saying that during the movie,
I
which
didn't
I thought
even
was a
notice
perfect
that. That's
dig.
so funny.
So I guess after that whole montage, he finds the Wolverine of this movie, um, who is not down on his luck, but is a piece of shit.
He is a depressed piece of shit. Like,
Yeah,
it's funny how funny is definitely the wrong word, but like he is, I mean, a true like down alcoholic type. And
hmm,
it's we've never seen Wolverine that, like, even in Logan, Wolverine has this, like, I'll say, air of responsibility to him,
yeah,
like, because he's taking care of Charles and then eventually taking care of X-23 in that. And it's this Wolverine has nothing, and
yeah.
he just does not care. And it's again, it's a new take on Wolverine that Hugh Jackman just freaking nails.
Just kills it. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, one thing I wanted to talk about real quick is when he brings I guess this is before he brings Wolverine back to the TVA, but we see that snippet of Thor holding Deadpool, like
Oh
crying over
yeah.
Deadpool's body. I've seen so many theories about that. I honestly think it was just a funny bit.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think that's leading to anything.
Dude, for sure that is a joke.
Yeah,
Maybe something comes out of it eventually, but like that's
that's
not.
just a bit. Yeah,
Yeah, just the same, dude. Just the same as I still stand by in Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange saying Fantastic Four, isn't that something that that aired in the 60s or something like that.
Yeah, 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 yep.
I think at the time that was just a joke.
Yeah.
And we now know the Fantastic Four is going to talk six, which we're going to talk Comic Con after this. But
Yes.
like, but like, I think at the time that was just a joke. It was funny, like blah blah blah. Like I think you can have something that might get taken seriously down the line, but yeah, I think people looking into the Thor crying over dead Deadpool is way too.
Yo, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
That was
I
just.
don't.
I think that was just a funny thing to add into the
As a
movie.
nerd who wanted Weapon 11 to be the villain of this
Yeah,
movie, I'm telling you that's too much, guys.
yeah. um. So I guess from there, him and Wolverine kind of go off, or no, they get banished to the void. They get pruned,
Yup.
by Mr. Paradox. Um, and that's when we get a bunch of cameos.
Dude. Oh my god. All right. So first of all, that's another great fight. Another great fight between him
Yes,
and
when they
Wolverine.
get
That's
when
or
they
I guess
into the
the
void.
first
Yep.
fight between those two, right? And it's that is so good.
Mm.
Um, then you have Chris Evans come out of nowhere and yell down to them, followed by a caravan of, I'll say, C-list X-Men, right?
Yep. In like a Mad Max type, like
Yes.
cavalry type,
When did you know Chris Evans was the
Oh,
Human
from
Torch?
the second he dropped down,
Me too, baby.
there's no
Yes.
way he's gonna be Cap. I was like, there's no way.
I heard it was him, and the fact that he was covered up,
Yeah,
and I was like, if he was Cap, they'd show you
they
he's
would have,
Cap.
but they did a good job because he had like that cloak on, but all you saw was blue at the top, and he had like red,
Yeah,
like red
I gotta say
gauntlets
they
on.
like tricked
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, wait, there's some red there. Is
Yeah,
that?
that's I was kind of trying to look for like the four, like the top of the four
Yeah.
on his chest. But yeah, when he's like, oh, he's about to say it, and you just hear flame on. Oh, that was so satisfying.
Oh my god, dude. It was so good. And it was so disappointing how Pyro just freaking
Oh, just
lights out in a
yeah,
second, man. I gotta tell you, I was like, oh man, no, Johnny, no.
yeah,
But it was so cool to see. I think I've said it on here before. I was pretty convinced we were gonna see Chris Evans Human Torch at some point,
yeah.
if not Secret Wars. And I mean, this movie made the most sense for it by the end of the
Oh yeah,
movie, and
yeah.
it was so perfect.
Yeah,
It was
that
great.
was definitely a better comic relief
Mm-hmm.
cameo rather than like like a like a Toby and Andrew Garfield
Right.
cameo in No Way Home. Because it was just he was a douchebag in the original Fantastic Four
Yeah.
movies
Yeah, he's
and
terrible.
just completely kept the same character and I'm so glad they let Chris Evans just be as the foul mouth like the most
Yeah.
foul mouth character they can after being such a clean cut like goody two shoe
Such a
American
prep boy
boy.
kind
Yep.
of,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, man. They let it was an R-rated Deadpool for sure. That's the
Yeah.
kind of thing, right? Like they let Chris Evans be in
Yeah.
that R-rated movie, and
It just it worked so
the
well.
payoff is so good. Pyro of all people just turning his lights out
Yeah.
still, like it just was so funny. You got Pyro, Toad. I think Blob was in the caravan
Yep.
somewhere, and
Lady
then
Deathstrike, the
fucking Sabretooth from
right.
specifically X-Men 1 Sabretooth.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. They had
and
the original actor. Yeah,
that was
that
so funny, dude.
was a good pool.
Wolverine like standing up like or squaring off with him, and Deadpool's like, wait, fans have waited years. He's like taking all the shit out of him. He's like, fans have been waiting years for this to happen again. It's blah 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 blah. And then
It's just over in 2 seconds.
just samurai action shit, dude. It was so good.
I love he holds up the head and he's like, "Behold your queen, Furiosa!" Like that was perfect.
So good. This movie, man, the Furiosa. Oh my god! And then I forget how they get. Oh, isn't it? They just use like a giant magnet to catch them.
Pretty much, yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it knocks them out.
Yeah.
Um, um,
Uh,
yeah. And then they get taken in a caravan all to their this rogue group of C-list X-Men's base, which is a giant Ant-Man skeleton, corpse basically.
you know what's
Um,
funny? That was so in the trailer you didn't watch the one I watched.
yeah.
You see the giant man mask open at one point in that
Oh,
trailer.
that's a bummer.
I actually I was okay with it because I was
Okay.
like I was like, oh look, like oh, I was like, okay, like there's some MCU mix. Like it was a little hype, right? I didn't know his body was gonna be in it as a
Yeah.
fucking house.
Yo,
Like
yeah, yeah.
when you
Which
see that, I was like, holy
that was a
shit.
cool little throw in that they had. That's jumping ahead. That's where Cassandra Nova, that's her home, her base in the void. And I love how they have a telepath living inside someone's head, like in his
Yeah.
skull. Like that's such a perfect.
And another great line. Oh, good to see Paul Rudd finally aged.
Yeah. And then yeah, when we get to the base, we get a bunch more cameos. Juggernaut, different actor from the one from X-Men Last Stand, but still,
But definitely X-Men
definitely
Last Stand
the same
Juggernaut.
costume, the same.
Same with the villain from one of the Punisher movies is here.
Yeah, the
And
Russian. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, the Russian in the red pinstriped shirt. I
Yeah.
saw that and I was cracking
I was
up.
I remember I saw that and I was like, is that the guy from I think I saw the Punisher once in like fifth grade. Like
Dude,
I like
yes.
and I was like, is that the guy from the Punisher? Because looking into it now, that's the guy who played him in the original was a wrestler named Kevin Nash.
That's
Um
amazing. That's perfect. I
but
mean, that's great.
but I mean I don't know who this guy is who's playing him,
No, but like that
but it
definitely
was
gave me vibes of same guy or same character, different
just different
actor.
actor, yeah.
Yeah.
Lady Deathstrike was in there, the fingernail adamantium
That's
lady.
right. I
She
forgot
was
about
there.
you've got not Nightcrawler.
Oh, Azazel, I think is his name.
Azazel,
Right.
who,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
that
have
was a
no
good.
idea if it was the same actor or not, but it was
I
Azazel
I
for
think
sure.
so. Yeah, I mean
It
it looked
looked
pretty
like him.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, oh man, I forgot about Lady Deathstrike. That was a
Yeah.
cool one.
That was a good one. That
And
was a
she
good
didn't really
pull.
have any focus either. It was
No,
just you
no.
saw her claws in like the side once, and it's like, oh shit, that's her.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was what X2, right? I think
Yep,
she was.
X2. Yep.
I don't think there was any more big cameos in that particular
In that spot,
scene.
not
Yeah.
that I can think of. No. No, I'm sure there are, and that's again one of the reasons I can't wait to go watch it again. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to see everything in that shot because I'd be willing to bet there are other characters there we can't remember.
Oh yeah. Oh, there was one more. I'll try to remember it, but I forget who it was.
But
But
so, and then in that's when we see I already forget her name. What was her name?
oh,
Called
Cassandra Nova.
Cassandra Nova. We see her for the first time. You get the briefest introduction. Oh, I'm the twin that Xavier ate in the
Banished
womb
from the
in
yeah, something like
every
that.
like
Yeah.
it's like holy shit, this is such a like
It's
random thing that
yeah.
like most people aren't gonna understand. And it's hilarious. And she's been wanting a Wolverine forever because that's never happened. And then she just fucking insta kills Johnny, man.
So that's the part I missed. That's the
What?
when she pulls the skin
Oh, that
off.
stinks.
I was literally had my back turned to the screen. I was walking out, and then I heard everybody go, "Oh my god!" And I turned around, and it was just his bones dropping to the ground. And I was like, "Oh damn it! I missed something big." Um, but I so
That's really funny.
I
You
was
gotta see
leaving.
it again. That's all.
Oh yeah,
You just
I
gotta see it
gotta
again.
I gotta
Gotta
see it
see it
again.
again.
But when I left my phone there, and I left the audio recorder on because I was like, I'm not missing any of the audio. So I like left my phone recording
Yeah,
audio when I went to the bathroom.
that's
Um,
amazing. That's a great idea. No, it's
but I was bummed that I missed that part.
yeah.
But other than that, I mean, they hop on like a sentinel leg
It's
and
so I mean I couldn't really tell. It's definitely some kind of robot leg. I
yeah.
just based off of the fact that most of this movie takes place in Fox Universe multiverses, I would assume Sentinel leg. I
I've
did
heard
think it kind of looked
theories. Yeah,
Iron Man
I've heard
but
theories it might be like Obadiah's leg, like
okay, the
that
monger.
the monger suit. Yeah, yeah.
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 Yeah, I have no idea. To be honest, it did not jump out at me. I thought it looked Iron Man-esque, but did not scream to me Iron Man.
No, yeah,
I might think like Hulkbustery kind of, but even that feels wrong. Like saying
yeah.
out, I don't know, but something. They jump on something. It rocket launches them out of there. They get out of there, and we got our first Deadpool core members.
That was
And
such a good. It was
oh
such
my
a good play on. I love that. Yeah, we got nice pool.
Which no one is talking about this. I meant to find this beforehand. I'm not gonna find it. I'm not gonna find it. But there is. I don't think it's a real reference, but there's a chance there's a chance Nice Pool was a reference to a moment in time in the Daniel Way comic book run. There's a time where Deadpool finally gets rid of his healing factor.
Hmm.
And it's like he's not suicidal anymore because he can't die and he just wants to live his life. And he's super excited about it. And when he gets rid of the healing factor for whatever bullshit comic reasons, it also heals all the scars on him. So
Oh,
he looks back like Wade Wilson and
yeah.
he takes his mask off and he looks like Ryan Reynolds essentially, right? Like he's like perfectly handsome, blonde, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the kicker is again, he doesn't have his healing factor. And Nice Pool was this. He
Yeah.
was Ryan. He was perfectly handsome Ryan Reynolds without the healing factor.
Uh,
And I again, I don't think it was on purpose because like I think it was just a funny character.
yeah, oh,
But
yeah,
like
yeah. It was
the
just
connections to
super
this,
Canadian. Like,
oh my god, it was so good. So and he's got the like
the
Thor
long,
long
yeah.
hair. It's so
And
funny,
then
dude.
we got Dog Pool coming
Dogpool,
in.
I gotta say, I don't think I ever said it on the podcast. I was 100% wrong on Dogpool. I went in because Dogpool. Did you know about Dogpool beforehand?
I did not know, but I
I
didn't
don't
surprise
remember
me that
seeing
there's a
him in.
dog variant.
That's what I don't remember seeing him in a trailer, but I know I saw pictures of Dogpool, like similar to
Okay.
Wolverine on set, kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I remember seeing the pictures and being like, oh man, this is one ugly ass dog. I don't care about this. This is so stupid. Like, this is gonna be the dumbest part of the movie. Let's just get through this, right? That dog came running on the screen and
It
just
was a good
I was
payoff.
I was like, oh my god, this is adorable. It's so and I don't know if you've seen it, Brendan, but there is a clip, or I guess technically an outtake
Yeah,
of the
I saw it
dog
today. Yeah,
licking Ryan Reynolds actually on set, and it's just the funniest, most wholesome shit
yeah. Oh
ever.
yeah.
It's so cute.
I love how he just like opens his mouth and lets the dog lick his tongue. Like, yeah, no, that was a perfect. He gives him a Honda Odyssey. Like, I'm it's that was such a funny way to do a product placement, was
It had to have been a
to
product.
just shit on it.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
and Honda Odyssey, I'm pretty sure is the one he shits on at the start of the movie too.
yeah, yeah. When
He's
he's
showing off I think it's a Kia, and they're
yeah,
like, "How
yeah,
do you compare this to the Honda Odyssey?" It's like, well,
it's not a piece of shit or
it's not a
something like
piece of
yeah.
shit, or but oh my god, it was so funny, dude. And then you have I'm gonna fast forward to like the part like so they get the car and like Wolverine like lays into Deadpool. He's like, you're a piece of shit. You talk your mouth off. No one likes you. You couldn't even hold the relationship with a stripper. Blah 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 blah. And Deadpool's silent. He's like, I'm gonna fight you now. And he's like,
And
oh, and
just
he boom.
mayhem.
Oh my god, that fight was so good. And that's like legit like action fight,
Yo,
right?
yeah.
He gets out of the car and he throws his katanas and he jumps back in with just the baby knife, man. It's so good. And then did you get the joke that happens?
Which
It's pretty straightforward. Valerie didn't get it. I'm calling her out. She was like, this went over my head. But Deadpool is sitting there and when they're like across from each other, he's like, I
yeah.
take it back. The Honda Odyssey fucks. And
Oh
then they
yeah.
start fighting again, and they just show the back of the car. It's like
Just bouncing. Yeah, yeah.
I was
I
dying.
I love how like it cuts to them like asleep in the car, but Deadpool is just wrapped in seatbelts. Like,
It's just so good.
and then they get, taken away by a mysterious character, which I didn't know who it would be at first when they just showed Boots walking up to the car.
Yeah.
And then again they get taken to this cave. Now I didn't notice, but in a recap I saw it. The cave in there has the statue of Wanda from the Mount the whatever
From Multiverse Madness.
yeah, whatever temple she
What?
destroys. In there is the statue, like on the roof is the statue of Wanda, that's in that Mount Magic or whatever.
So that's the answer to where she could be. She could
Yeah,
be in the void.
she could have gotten, maybe not
Holy
pruned,
shit!
but
How do you make this a real moment where it's like game on,
yeah.
man?
I mean, it was very
Oh.
subtle. They just like, I think it was the scene started out with it on the statue, and then it just panned down to like Deadpool, Wolverine, passed out in the
I mean,
thing.
you
But
could
it was
easily tell me she ended up in the void after messing with the multiverse. It
yeah.
implodes on her or something in that scene.
Maybe I forget if that takes place before or after Loki season 2, but maybe Loki or Kang or one of them just saved her and was like, we're gonna send you to the void. Might need you one day.
I don't know.
Um,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I. That's good catch. That's
yep,
cool. That's really cool,
yep.
actually. And then
Yeah.
we have.
Oh, such good
Oh
cameos.
my God. I am
Such
so
good
glad
cameos.
3 or 4 of these were not spoiled for me.
Yes.
And I did. So I'll say the spoiler first, as long as it doesn't matter to you.
No, yeah.
The last person that you find out helped. So you get the 4 people walk into the room that are here to help Deadpool and Wolverine. And the last one was the one I had spoiled, and it's X-23. She's there.
Which I feel like isn't that huge of a spoiler because like
No,
I feel like
I
with it being Wolverine, you know, at least one point they might bring her into the movie.
Right.
Um,
I didn't think she would be as important as she was. I'm glad she, which is something I want to talk about. But like, I was fine. Like, so I had spoiled that she was going to be in it. Had no idea what the impact on the story was, and the payoff was still great.
yeah,
The other ones though, dude, I still can't. Like, they make you go crazy for Chris Evans as Human Torch,
yeah, oh, yeah.
and in walks. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. Who plays Blade?
Oh,
But
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes as
Yeah.
Blade.
When he
You've
walked
got
in, I
Jennifer Garner as
um,
Elektra,
yeah, oh, yeah.
and then fucking Channing
Oh,
Tatum
that
as
as
Gambit.
as cartoon accurate and like comic accurate Gambit. You know what I mean? Like the whole
He's got the
Louisiana,
half face thing.
yeah, the Louisiana drawl,
Oh
like
my!
like
Who the hell was your accent
the
coach?
minions. Oh, that was such, and I loved the dig at apparently because Ryan Reynolds was in the third Blade.
Yeah, I have never
And
seen them, to be
neither,
honest.
yeah, I've seen the first one. I haven't seen the second, the other two, but apparently Wesley Snipes was like super difficult to work with on that third Blade,
Yeah,
and he said something like oh he's like I never liked you. He's like, and Deadpool's like still don't or something like that. And then it was just like a jab to like you know Wesley Snipes being like I fucking hate you. Why are you? Why did you bring me into this?
that's what dude. When I saw Wesley, and that was like, as someone who hasn't seen the Blade movies, I know the drama that was behind the movies.
Yeah,
And I know that that was the first time Ryan Reynolds was on a Marvel movie. I know that's when Ryan Reynolds was introduced to the character of Deadpool. Like, that
yeah,
is what started this,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
I know that backstory. So the moment he comes on screen, I'm like, holy shit,
yeah.
he did it. Like, he got
He got
Wesley
Wesley
Snipes to
Snipes
come
back.
back,
Oh yeah.
which I mean, one of the ultimate jokes being when they're in the car
Yeah.
later and he goes, "There's only one blade," and Deadpool looks straight at the camera. Like,
Uh-huh.
come on, dude.
That was definitely a jab, you know, a good little jab because they just had such shitty luck with
Oh my
with that
God.
movie. But yeah, no, I went nuts when Wesley Snipes came in, and then I started like hitting Kayla when Gambit came in because I was like Channing Tatum because like I was like he was supposed to play Gambit in a movie and it never happened. I was like this is like
It was like
I really hope they keep him in for future movies because he was such a good Gambit.
he did a great, and that's what they did. They did Gambit so well in this movie,
Yeah.
so well, and
They didn't make him like they didn't make his powers look stupid. Like, you
they
know,
didn't make his powers look stupid. They didn't try to modernize him like they did in Origins, and
yeah,
like, which is very 2010s, like not too much, like, bad movie for sure,
yeah,
but like not hating on those movies in a way that, other than like the obvious, but like they didn't try to modernize him, they didn't black leather him, kind of a thing.
yeah,
They
exactly.
went comic accurate, and I gotta say, Channing Tatum fucking killed it, dude. He
He
was
went all
awesome,
in on that
and
character. Like
yeah,
he got the accent perfect. He went they went full on with the costume. He even had that like almost like neck piece in the back. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
the collar
That
almost in
like
the
goes
back.
up to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
headpiece, and he had the duster
The
on.
cloak.
Dude, the
Yeah.
duster looks
That
so
looks sick.
good.
That looks
It's
sick.
so good.
Oh,
He's got the staff at one point.
yep.
Like, obviously he's got the plank art. Like, he was the whole deal. And I'm gonna say, I don't know if anyone's seen this, but again, we're in obvious spoilers at this point. But so at Comic Con, there was a Deadpool and Wolverine panel,
Mhm.
and they
Oh, you
showed
sent this to me. Yeah, yeah.
they showed the whole movie at the panel, which was like just absurdly awesome.
The whole Deadpool movie,
The
like the whole.
whole movie.
Oh wow.
They started the panel because it was the only thing scheduled for that night in the hall. It was Thursday night. They
Yeah.
started the panel, and they're like, "Who wants to watch the movie?" And they just played the whole movie.
Oh shit, that's
And
awesome.
they're like, could you imagine being at Comic-Con and they play this as like a premiere of sorts, right? And then after the movie, this cast came on stage and they introduced the cameos that were in it,
Oh,
and they
that's
came
cool.
on stage too. And Channing Tatum coming to this Comic-Con in the same fucking Gambit t-shirt that he wore in 2015 when he was announced as Gambit. I mean, I
Dedication.
wanted to cry.
Yeah.
It's so good. I'm so glad, like, he clearly actually wanted to do this, and it, I won't say paid off, but like I'm glad he got to have his moment, you
Yeah, oh,
know?
yeah. He got to have his not redemption, but he got his, yeah, like you said, his moment to play Gambit. That
Mhm.
he always wanted to do. And I hope if they don't bring him in, whatever, if it's just like a John Krasinski Mr. Fantastic thing, that's cool. But it would be awesome to see him in future movies
I
as
agree.
Gambit.
If in kind of like to a Comic-Con conversation later, but if Gambit was to come up at least in Secret Wars, I think it just makes sense to have him in it.
Yeah. And then, you already said the last cameo, but X-23. Um, which a good pool, a good, especially for Wolverine in the movie.
Yeah, she was exactly what was needed for the Wolverine side of the story, and she does a great job returning the character. Yeah, it's a nice little. I mean, it's the emotional attachment part, you know.
Yeah. I
And
guess. Oh, good.
no. I was gonna go to the next scene.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
Like
guess the next thing is them. Big thing is them going to fight Cassandra.
they go to they go to have your X-Men B-list fight. And holy, and
Yeah.
this is what I was saying, where I think this does Multiverse of Madness, but better, because let's call I call them New X Force, right?
Yep.
So the cameos are, let's call them New X Force. And I think New X Force is a better use of the cameos than the Illuminati was.
Oh yeah.
So the Illuminati, I still think, was a great set of cameos. You know, like you said, Krasinski's Reed Richards was a mind-blowing moment in the theater. I'm so glad I wasn't spoiled. You
Yeah.
have you have the
Monica
obvious one we
Rambeau.
all knew being Patrick Stewart coming back as Xavier,
Yeah.
because it was in the trailer. You have the Black Bolt from the TV show. Like,
Yep.
it was great cameos. The Illuminati was a great set of cameos that really don't amount to much. They go and they fight Scarlet Witch and
And
they
they
just
just
die.
get
Like,
the floor wiped with them.
I
Like,
like that movie a lot. Like, I'm not dissing the movie, but like the cameos are there and then they're gone and they're not important.
yeah.
Literally, Deadpool and Wolverine can't succeed without these
Without them.
guys.
Yeah. Like they're a key
They're
part of
that
the movie.
critical.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, no, the fight scene was awesome. Every character had their cool moments. It was cool seeing Blade, bring out the teeth a little bit.
Yeah.
When he got there. Gambit just throwing card after card,
I
detonating
was gonna say though,
them.
dude,
Like,
I loved all of them. It was cool seeing X-23 back in action, Blade, Elektra. Gambit was the best one, dude.
oh yeah.
Gambit was by far, like, it
Now,
was so cool.
because X-23, she had 3 claws in this movie. Did she? I thought she had 2 claws in.
She only had two, and did she have
Did
three
she
in
have?
this movie?
I maybe I just saw it wrong.
So
But she
so
has 2 in Logan, right?
she has two in Logan. I
Okay.
remember in the credit scene, which I'll quick say. So the credit scene is just kind of an homage to behind the scenes footage of all Fox movies.
Yeah.
And in that, she has 3 claws. So I'm guessing
Oh, maybe
her
that's okay.
practical effects were 3 claws during Logan, and then they just in post decided to
Cut the
make it
third one out.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe if you're mixing, I don't know if you're
Maybe
wrong.
I could just be mixing up that end credit scene with
But
what
I
you know.
also don't remember the fight well enough. She very well could, and
Yeah.
I don't know. She's just
One of the most gross things in that fight was when she cuts Juggernaut's Achilles and he just falls. I was like, oh, that was so gross.
oh,
That
I
was
just go.
I started cringing when I saw that. I was like,
Yes,
oh, that
because
was
that's the
gross.
classic like horror movie trope when you see a
Yeah,
pair
yeah.
of feet and you're like,
They're
no,
getting,
no.
yeah.
Oh,
That was
oh,
it was a good gross out factor
and
for
it
that fight.
clean slices through
Oh
too,
yeah.
man. Like, he
Yeah.
just collapses.
I mean, if you're gonna stop the Juggernaut, that's how, the
Yeah, yeah.
unstoppable man.
And I even love that. Like, so they need Juggernaut's helmet to counteract the
Oh yeah,
telepathy,
yeah.
right? Like, the fact that you're gonna make Juggernaut's X-Men 3 helmet specifically important, like, again, dude.
a,
Again, this
a
shit was
great plot
just so
point. Yeah, yeah.
good. And that's why, like when I say I think it did Multiverse of Madness, but better, it's because the cameos were amazing, but they weren't just cameos. They had
Yeah,
a point to the plot.
they had yeah, exactly. They were important to the broader story. They weren't just like, hey, here's John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. Now he's gonna get,
Right.
turned into a blood dot. But no, I really liked that fight. It was
That was a great fight.
a
Great
good
fight.
and not ending fight, but a good culmination of that story.
Yeah.
And then they get the helmet on Cassandra. Or I guess before that, she like goes into Logan's mind and is like trying to tell him like, "Hey, I can fix you," yada yada yada. And then Deadpool throws the helmet on her. They go back and forth, and Wolverine's basically like, um, I knew your brother. He wouldn't want you to do this, yada yada yada. And she has to change her heart, and okay.
Right.
Um, and then long story short, I know I'm skipping over some things, but long story short, she pulls out. She's like, "Well, a magician was here not too long ago." And at first, I was like, "Magician." I was like, I thought of not Doctor Strange, but I was thinking of someone else. And then it was a sling ring, Doctor
Yeah.
Strange. But what I noticed afterwards was they had a time stone and a reality stone on sling ring, which was awesome to see because like you could use that sling ring because the sling rings only work in one universe as far as we know.
That's what like in current continuity, the sling rings only work within a universe. However, I'll say thanks to What If and when Ultron gets the Infinity Stones, the Infinity Stones has the power to open up portals between universes.
Yep.
So, like, by saying that the sling ring had a couple Infinity Stones, literally they don't even say that, right?
No,
you just have to see.
You just see it.
Oh, there's 2 little stones on it. Boom, sold, done.
Yeah,
great.
I'm glad they didn't I'm glad nobody pointed it out in the movie. Like Deadpool wasn't like, "What are those stones?"
What are those?
What are those? But no, it just they didn't do a lot of that dumb exposition in the movie. But Deadpool and Wolverine go back to their the main Fox X-Men universe, the 1005, and that's when we get Deadpool and Wolverine versus the Deadpool Corps.
Oh my god! And that's
such a good fight. And
we have Wolverine pulls his mask on. And I think Deadpool says something like, "Where have you been hiding those handlebar wings?"
Yeah.
Just
he's like, where are you hiding them blowjob or something like it was like them blowjob handles or something.
I think it is. Oh my god, it was so funny and it's so good. Yeah, and like honestly, like the reason he puts the mask on there is because that's like it's like CGI Wolverine activate basically. And you have the Deadpool Corps shows up, which is just riddled with Deadpool cameos. And it's so funny because it's all comic book payoff. So again, it's for the fans. Like literally, there is a gray monk Deadpool in that crowd.
Is it Zenpool or something like that? Right?
I don't know his name.
Yeah,
but that is when that is not Ends of the Earth, but Original Sin. In Original Sin comic books, the Original Sin reverses everyone's personalities. So Deadpool becomes not an atheist, who refuses to fight people. A pacifist. He becomes a pacifist, and that's him in that comic book. And it's like that little thing, and that's all. Every one of those Deadpools is something. And I was like, that's just it's not for everyone. It's for specific like. And even if you
so much care, even if you didn't know like the
you don't care, it's
just cool to see a bunch of like different Deadpools.
I mean, Lady Deadpool is self-explanatory, right?
Which that was Blake Lively, which that was a good little
cameo. So good.
The cowboy one was Matthew McConaughey.
I didn't know that until well after seeing the movie.
I was listening to him and I was like, that guy sounds so familiar. And then I was like, shit, I'm pretty sure that's either Matthew McConaughey or that's someone doing a very good impression of Matthew McConaughey.
Yup.
A couple other ones that they had Headpool, which was just like a floating skeleton. Head. Yeah.
Do you know who voiced him?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure it was probably some famous voice actor, but
I think Kidpool is Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's actual kid.
Yeah, yep.
I saw that.
One of the Deadpools had a Wrexham Wrexham logo on it, which I thought was a nice little shout out.
Yeah, did you actually? And then Rob McElhenney had a cameo that was cut, and it was just so funny. He put on Instagram like, "Oh, it's so weird. My movie didn't show my scene or something like that." So funny. I thought the Wrexham Deadpool was really funny, and that was played by one of Wrexham's actual players.
Oh,
Like,
really? That's pretty cool.
yup. One of the Deadpools was Tom Holland's brother, who is a stunt
Oh,
actor.
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So and then I don't know if this is true. This was a like link and missed source on Twitter, so I might be wrong.
Mhm.
But I saw that dead or baby Deadpool's stand-in was actually one of Ryan Reynolds. Like Ryan Reynolds apparently had a newborn in the past like year or something,
Oh,
or two
really?
years before the movie. And I think like it was supposed to be like I don't know, but that I was like I saw that I was like that might not be true, and I didn't even, I just kept swiping,
That'd be a cool little
But that
cameo
would be
though.
like, right. Like I know Kid Pool was definitely his daughter, I believe.
Yeah.
I think there was someone else. Nice Pool again shows up and just dies immediately because
It doesn't have the
it
healing
doesn't have the
or the
healing
regenerate.
factor.
Oh my, that was such a funny moment.
Yeah.
That was a good. That was a good.
And you
Good.
know what's funny? That was the first time during this whole movie where something clicked from the trailer because after Nice Pool dies, they do the slow-mo walk into the middle of the street to square off with the Deadpool core,
Oh
and
yeah,
that
yeah,
was in the trailer.
yeah.
And that was in the trailer with Wolverine in it that I saw. And in that shot, he has the gold pistols. And it was so
Yeah.
funny because I was like, "Oh my god, that's how he gets the gold pistols." Nice Pool just freaking died.
That was a cool little homage though. It was almost. I mean, I don't know if he has gold pistols in the comics, but I remember that you can get them in the game, like the video game, which I thought was
I thought that was
maybe a
very
little bit
like
of an
Call of Duty
homage.
esque, like these golden
Yeah, yeah,
eagles.
yeah.
Um, I feel like there's another cameo I can't remember, but they're all great. They're all
Yeah.
great. And then Deadpool and Wolverine fight every one of the Deadpools all the way through. Oh my god,
We
it's
get a
such a
scene
fun
like through the
fight.
bus and everything. You just see
Yeah.
blood splattered on the windows. I love it when they fight, they kill everybody, and then you're just kind of like, wait, aren't they just gonna get back up? And they all just start getting back up and everything. Oh, that was such a good fight. Um,
And I mean, and then they do the whole hero sacrifice thing,
yeah,
man. Like they finally get to the TVA where they got the machine going,
it
and
was
they do
cool
the
seeing
whole
the spaghettification. When
yeah, dude.
she's
This
hitting
movie
the
pays
yeah,
so much good like attention to Loki details. Like
yeah,
obviously Eliath earlier in the movie. You've got the TVA not being like what they're a part of from season one. Literally, Loki says at one point, Eliath from season one, episode five. That was funny.
yeah, yeah,
Like, and then yeah, the reality starts splitting apart, and it's the spaghettiing from season two, dude.
yeah.
It's wild. It's so well done, man. I'm
Um,
nerding out so hard. It's just it was so good.
and you get that nice shot of them, linking hands to stop the, whatever, and just the Wolverines just evaporate. Like I love how Deadpool's costume stays perfectly intact, but Wolverine's just explode, like burns off.
Deadpool does the like
Yeah,
looking at him. He's like,
I
ooh.
mean Hugh Jackman just got like just
Yeah.
lean for this movie.
You
Like,
know what's I gotta make this funny comment. I saw, I think it was a podcast. I don't even remember which one though. There was a comment, and like a lot of people were commenting like, "Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine, the alpha males are back, baby." And there's this podcast just like you guys know Deadpool's not straight, right? Like
yeah,
very obviously
obviously,
not
yeah.
straight.
But yeah, yeah, it's such a good. I love how they just keep him, a little. He'll comment on a woman, comment on, keep him
Oh, he's just everything, buddy.
playing
He's
both,
just he's love.
playing all sides,
Yeah. But and then yeah, so I just thought that was a funny comment.
Oh,
But like so then you've got shirtless Wolverine, that the two of them coming out like hand in hand. It's like the TVA agent like talk like just lying out his ass like
yeah,
they sacrificed them. Blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't. He's like
no,
fucking
yeah.
fucking fuck.
I love one thing we skipped over is when the whole Deadpool Corps surrounds Peter, because like Peter is like
Oh my god,
the anchor
Peter.
point for all Deadpools. Like
Every Deadpool has a Peter. That was pretty great. That
and
was
and Hunter B-15 like I didn't notice it in theaters, but in the breakdown I saw it. Apparently his dick is outlined in the suit, and
oh
it's like
yeah.
all the way
Oh
down to
yeah,
his
I
knee.
saw that.
I didn't notice it. I didn't like I wasn't look I and And I when
I
I
mean,
when I rewatch it, I want to like because I was like, why is she staring at him like that?
Hunter B-15 says it perfectly. He fills out that suit.
Yeah,
He fills it out. It's because, well, it's funny too because like I'm pretty sure the zipper doesn't zip all the way, and
yeah,
you see his belly button ring that
yeah.
he talks about in the start of the like. It's Peter is just man, what a character
What
arc
a
for Peter. I
character!
did
Oh,
not expect
I'm
to
glad
have.
they brought him into the movie.
Yeah,
Like,
it
I'm
was.
glad they didn't skip over that.
He's definitely like an improvement on Weasel. Like I don't the whole
Yeah,
Weasel thing is a bit of a shame that actor was canned basically.
yeah.
But like I don't maybe he was I don't know if he was guilty or not, so don't
I
cancel
think
me.
I
But
think he just got blacklisted,
that's
for
yeah, whatever.
various reasons.
And it's Weasel not being in it was a bit of a shame. But man, Peter was a
But
great replacement
Peter was a
because
good,
that's definitely Peter was the new like that
new
character, and
Weasel.
he was
Yeah,
like he's too wholesome for Deadpool, and that's why they love him
yeah.
easily.
He's the perfect
Before
balance.
before we start talking about Peter's balls, don't want to lose that glorious content.
So yeah, so we just had to take a quick break because Zoom sucks. But yeah, we were talking about Peter's giant balls.
Balls, just big old ball, big old fucking like meat. No,
Just
that's not even. That doesn't even do it justice. We're talking like softballs,
just yeah,
balls,
just cantaloupes.
just melons
But no, I was glad they included him in the movie. And
and
it
balls.
was just and his balls. Just such a good, such a good add-on. Yeah, I mean the ending, it was a go. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Let's get into it. Let's get
Yeah.
into it. So first of all, I actually the one thing I gripe with this movie. I'm jumping ahead. I'm jumping ahead. So I'll build into it. They save the world. They save the
Yep.
universe. They establish that, and I'll get back to this. Actually, maybe I'll just talk about this now because my gripe with the movie, and by gripe I mean like 0.0001%
Yeah,
thing that
yeah,
just
yeah.
doesn't tickle me inside. It is, I mean, long story short, they leave it open ended with him and Vanessa, and I'm like, man, I just really needed her to kiss him.
Yeah,
I
right.
just really needed her to kiss him. It's okay. Like I needed that
Yeah,
in here, in here. I need a little peck. That's it.
just a
It
little
could have
bit.
been on the cheek. Actually, that might have been the wrong message. I would have been else. I don't know. I don't know. But it hurt a little bit that she doesn't give him a kiss. Anyway, you always remember her name, and Hunter. What's the Hunter's
Oh,
guess's name?
Hunter B-15.
Amazing. Hunter B-15 uh says your timeline is stronger than ever. So it establishes that this Wolverine is now part of this timeline,
Yep.
the Fox timeline. So and Deadpool makes the joke till you're 90,
Hell, you're
which is so
90.
funny.
Yeah.
He's like Hugh Jackman is absolutely coming back for Secret Wars.
Oh,
Absolutely
yeah.
coming back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Um, but so they say that the universe is stronger than ever, and I might if I've got some Secret Wars theories for this that I'm sure everyone else has too. Like I don't think it's that hard to kind of pinpoint what's going to happen here. But the long story short of it is, I think that the incursion that is going to lead to Secret Wars is going to be with the Fox timeline.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Like it just that
Yep.
that would make the most sense because
Yeah.
the way they show that the timeline is so strong, it's like, oh, like
It's
nothing. It's the sacred timeline and this timeline.
yeah.
Like, and I almost was gonna say, I actually think I texted you about this, but before the Comic-Con announcement, I was even theorizing that Avengers 5 was gonna be retitled Avengers vs. X-Men, and the
Yeah. Yeah.
incursion was
Yeah.
gonna be a whole
Was
movie in
them.
itself.
Yeah.
Like
I have a feeling that's coming after Secret Wars.
that's what like I
But
think
yeah.
that'll just be a different title, which is fine. Um, but yeah, I think it's kind of regardless of how long or whatever due process. I think the incursion that leads to Secret Wars is going to be with this timeline, and that's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. I mean, they set up that this timeline ain't going anywhere, and
Yeah.
that's
Which is
like
cool. Yeah. Which is cool to
interesting
see.
theory there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean the movie ends with Deadpool being reunited with his, core nine, the ones at his, surprise party. And they bring back Logan comes back to
and Deadpool.
and Dogpool and
The,
X-23 all
that's
come
right.
back to the main X-Men Fox universe. Yeah, I mean it pretty much ends with Deadpool and or Wade and Vanessa, sort of we
Things are okay.
maybe, yeah, things are okay. They're
They're
not,
okay.
they might not be back together, but they're okay.
I know.
And I love the closing shot, just pans over to their two masks and then just
It's
cuts to the
great.
the credits, and it has all the outtakes of the different outtakes and interviews and behind the scenes footage from all those original Fox movies,
You
including
even
like the
you even
original
get Fan
X-Men.
Stick in
Yeah,
there.
you get Fantastic, you get the other Fantastic Four, like the early 2000s Fantastic Four. You get all the different Wolverine variation movies like The Wolverine and Origins Wolverine.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I mean it was cool. You get the Blade movies. I think Daredevil might have been in a couple, like Ben Affleck Daredevil.
Probably because I mean that's what
Um,
Elektra was originally
yeah,
fun. She had her
and
own movie, but she was
and
first
she was
in
in
Daredevil.
Daredevil. Yeah, and they had
Um,
that was a good line where he was like, "Oh, what about Daredevil?" Ah, it's fine. And she was like, "Ah, it's fine.
she's
He's
like,
not
yeah,
here."
it's fine.
Because they were I'm pretty
I
sure they
think,
were married in real life.
yeah,
Jennifer Gardner and Ben
think
Affleck.
they
Yeah,
still are.
yeah. I have no idea.
I don't I saw a lot of things, none of which I know to be true or not.
Yeah,
But like I saw like there was one comment like, oh, Ryan Reynolds asked Affleck to come back and he said no, but Garner said yes. I saw like all sorts of I don't know if any of it's true or not, but I just think that was a perfect line to address it. Like,
yeah.
oh, like where is that's fine.
He's fine. It's
He's
fine.
okay.
Yeah,
I do think it's funny. Like so the homage at the end in the credits and this movie as a whole really as a homage to like it's a good and Ryan Reynolds tweeted this isn't me, but like literally he said it was their goodbye to the
yeah,
Fox universe.
yeah.
And
Exactly. Yeah,
for Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman especially, like Fox gave them their big breaks that led to who they are,
yeah.
literally. And it's just really amusing to me because Hugh Jackman had a nice payday the entire time.
Oh yeah.
But like Wesley Snipes, Ryan Reynolds, Channing Tatum, like they all got screwed by Fox pretty
Oh yeah.
hard
Yeah.
time and again. I mean, Ryan Reynolds literally went on record saying he didn't want to do the Deadpool they put in Origins, and they were like, "Well, you can either do it or
Or you're
we'll
out of the movie.
recast him."
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, I guess I'll do
I
it."
guess,
And
yeah.
it's like good for him sticking through that because
Yeah.
obviously money is great, and this is the payday of the
And
century
it
right
just and
now.
it just made such a good end credit scene for Deadpool 2 of him killing
Oh,
Weapon 11, or
oh my
whatever it was.
god.
But yeah, no, I thought it was a great ending to the fight. Just having bye 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 in the beginning was a perfect, little
So
homage to
good.
just,
That was so good.
saying goodbye to this Fox X-Men universe that we know.
Mm,
Um, and then, we had the end credit scene, which perfect ending for a Deadpool
great
movie.
Deadpool credit scene.
Um, it's when they're it's Deadpool in the TVA head, like the Paradox's TVA headquarters, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna bring back that footage because what he says, all those things that, I mean, you probably have a better explanation of this because I missed that part. So like I missed that part in the
Oh, okay.
movie.
So basically, yeah, on the ride over, Deadpool and Wolverine are tied up next to Johnny Storm, and they're talking to Johnny, and Johnny's giving this like vague like, oh, she controls the void and she controls who Goliath feeds on and blah blah blah. And Johnny is giving this very like intimidating like spiel, and it cuts away. And then when you get to Nova, like Deadpool says, like, "Oh, Johnny said that you're a piece of shit and you should go suck dick and blah blah blah," and then that's when she kills him because of that.
Yeah,
And the entire movie is the bit of like, "Oh, he didn't really say it. Oh, he did say it." Deadpool like blah blah blah, and in the credit scene, it's footage of when it cuts away from the original scene.
yeah.
Johnny actually goes off to say, and he's like, and she needs to go suck a dick or something because oh my god, I don't care if
It
she
was
pops me like a human balloon, I wouldn't care. It wouldn't be enough. And it's just so fucking.
it was the most foul just things I've ever heard. It was just so funny hearing that coming out of Chris Evans. Like,
Especially coming out of and you know
yeah.
what's funny? I don't know if you've watched this in a while, but Scott Pilgrim versus the World, obviously
Oh yeah,
Chris
yeah,
Evans
yeah,
is in
yeah,
that. And he's very like I think he's got a beard or something going on in that.
yeah, yeah,
But like he looks different, right? So like
yeah.
even I wouldn't say he's foul mouthed in that, but like he talks
He's a little
different,
more
but he looks
edgier.
like
Yeah,
he kind of looks like Captain America in this movie.
yeah.
And then he starts going foul mouthed, and
Just
it's
oh
really
yeah.
funny.
It was a perfect, yeah, yeah. But no, I'm glad they let him, expand that character a little bit. Yeah,
I'm
I
glad
mean,
we got to see him. I'm glad we got it was a good
yeah.
ending.
All in all, like I said in the beginning, this is 10 out of 10. This has such good rewatchability. I think they did such an amazing job bringing a proper Deadpool movie into the MCU.
Yeah.
They kept true to the original two with the dialogue and how the script was written and the characters and everything like that.
And that's
Perfect.
wild, right? Because we say they brought him into the MCU, but he's not. He's still in the Fox.
Yeah, he's still in the
universe
Fox
right now.
universe. Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah,
we'll have to wait and see for if and how he joins
comes
it
into
in
the
Secret
MCU.
Wars, I would
Yeah.
assume. Because I really thought it was going to end with because when they ask like, do you like we'll do anything or whatever, like, when they're like, we'll give you a favor kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And he asks for X-23 to join their universe. And I thought for sure it was going to be like, can we all join the Sacred Timeline or something like that? And
that would have been cool.
And it just, the fact that they very distinctly was like, this timeline is as strong as ever. It's like, all right, Deadpool is here for a reason.
Yeah, they're gonna. That's. I think your theory's right. That's gonna be the universe that's incursion. That's, I don't know the right verbiage, but that is having the incursion with the 616. It incurs. That's what I was gonna say, but I was like, I don't know if that sounds right. That is colliding.
Something else. Don't dictionary that.
Yeah. But yeah, do you have anything else on?
No. I loved it. 10 out of 10, perfect for me. I think the last thing I would say, and I think I said it before spoilers, but like, look, if you're not a huge Die Hard fan, I doubt you're still watching our video, but like, if you're not a Die Hard fan and you didn't like it, I can't blame you. Like, it's for the fans.
Yeah.
And as a fan, it was perfect. I could not ask for more.
Yeah. I mean, everyone that I've seen like post stuff on Facebook or that I've talked to that's seen it, whether they're big Marvel fans or not, everybody's enjoyed it. Because even if you're not a big Deadpool fan, it's still a funny movie. It's still a good movie. It's still, even if you don't understand all the cameos, it's still fun to see all these characters. But yeah, I mean, 10 out of 10. Go see it a million times, as many times as you can in theaters. Yeah, that's all I got.
That's it.
Yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode, which we're about to record right now.